It's your turn.
Okay. Hey, y'all. How you perking? I hope you're perking good. So, I'm not at my house. I am at Twin's house. Hey, Twin.
Hello. Lovely
So-
twin-like peoples.
Yeah. So, we're just sitting here eating lunch, which for me right now consists of McDonald's fries and a hot fudge sundae.
She bought me the same, so I'm eating that.
But hey, I'm drinking a water. The epitome of health. 2 months ago, I wrote on my community tab. I know I did not just click out of that because I'm an idiot. I am. But I wrote on my community tab for y'all to submit questions for a Q&A. I wrote sometime in the next few weeks, 2 months ago, I plan on filming a Q&A with my twin sister, Alma. What questions do y'all have for us, whether they're tarot related, spiritual, personal, etc.? We may not get to all the questions submitted, but we'll get through a lot. So I have that list up here today. We're going to get right into that. Better late than never. Again, just like the last video with Blanche Devereaux and better late than pregnant. Here we go.
I'm fixed.
Yeah, she's fixed. Do all the stuffs, the likes, the subscribes, the join the Perk Squad if you would like to have extra perks like video shout outs or exclusive videos, exclusive posts. Here, let's do a video shout out. I am sure a Perk Squad member has written on here. Sure, we have several. We have Jackie M. and Julia Spooney and Natasha and Jackie Vineyard. So thank y'all for being members of the Perk Squad. Shout out to y'all. Just wanted to go ahead. Those are some Perk Squad members who weighed in on asking some questions for this Q&A. So we're going to get into it. We have a squirmits down here that you can't see at the moment, but
Every now and then you can see your vitals going.
Yep, and you can kind of see movement down here by the mic. Yep.
And by vitals, I mean her tail.
Yeah, her tail doing
I
this.
started realizing that that's just some shit our family says.
Yeah, that's what we say in our family is we're talking about someone's vitals. That means their tails or wagging, or sometimes if they're like perking their ears up or things like that, they're vital signs. So we call them their vitals. And a wheel, if they have their wheels, what are those?
Feet.
Yep. Paws.
We're like, oh shit, she lost a wheel.
She lost the wheel. That's
like,
when you're walking and
you like
slip.
you trip and one foot like slides off the couch and you like fall and face plant. We're like, oh shit, she lost the wheel.
She lost the wheel. So, if we could keep it quiet, yeah. Funny. Okay, so let's get into
Did
this.
you just put a fry in your mouth before reading?
Yes. Surrender Jones asked, I think a creepy twin story would be awesome. Maybe even a psychic creep twin story. Sending you both love. So, there's a lot of questions in here about creepy stories and ghost stories and the ghosties, and I guess because of all the things she's talked about on her channel about it. So, what do you want to say about a creepy twin story?
Yeah, I didn't know if people were just vibing off of each other's comments for that to be kind of a running theme. But we each have like numerous individual stories, but she told me that was the theme of here. I haven't actually read what people want.
I just skimmed it real quick.
Yeah, and she was like, it's about like creepy stuff, and I was like, well, as for a shared experience, I don't know if we've really got many shared experiences. No, see, now she's gonna be bad the whole fucking.
But I got it on video.
She's gonna be bad. So, yeah, I was like, man, we're actually going to be kind of like boring on that in terms of like not things that vibe. When we were tiny kids,
The closet thing.
I was about to bring up the closet thing. That's
Were
what
you?
no, literally. Literally.
Oh,
Because I was like, when we were little, about the only thing I can think of that was like really a shared thing was the closet. Well, saying closet monster as an adult is like really stupid.
I think that was paranormal shit.
Yeah.
Okay, tell
I'm
them
more
about
scared
the closet.
about what this is doing to my bowels. It like the doors of the closet opening whenever we were kids and looking like there was some kind of like dark form that would come out of it, and sometimes it would even get so ballsy, dare I say, to kind of drift out and where it felt like it was on the side of the bed. We shared a bed because first of all, broke life. Second of all, if you got twins that shared a uterus, they're going to share a bed. So we have to edit out some shit because we get a little bit too talkative and we say things that we shouldn't record. And because of this, that's why we have like the shared closet thing. So it was like this entity type thing, this dark entity that came and would come to the side of the bed. And that's what I remember the most about it. I also remember having like ghosty people that I feel like came out of the closet and would come over. But they never scared me because I think that one of the ghosty people was our granddad. So I wasn't ever scared by the people, but that amorphous darkness that would come out. And the closet doors would legit just open. And every night we would make sure that shit was closed. We're like, and it would open. And also the layout of our parents' house, it's like 2 bedrooms and the closets. So you can't actually have access, from one room to another, like through the closet or anything. But the closets are kind of like a shared space in the blueprint, like this room's closet is here, this room's closet is here. And so it was like, really, it's in the same place in the wall, And so once we even got old enough to where we were in our own separate rooms, it's like, it's like she'd have issues with her closet and I'd have issues with my closet. And it was like something it felt like it was something in that region area that would just fuck with us and open the doors. And opening the doors is enough to freak out a little kid when you're watching shit that you're not supposed to be watching at that age. So it's
not saying this would only happen on nights when we watch shit we shouldn't be watching.
Yeah,
this is like, you could be chill and nothing bad has happened and everything's fine in your little child life, and then that night that shit happens.
Dreaming about pancakes sucking on your pillow. Yeah. That was something that I found like really disturbing. That was the first time I realized or the first time that I can consciously remember feeling scared or unsafe about things that other people weren't validating us on.
Yeah, and like when I would see the people every once in a while, it would be scary to me because I don't know, maybe it's because I'm just more scared in general about a lot of things, #anxiety club and shit like that. So I'm more of a high-strung person in general, but like there'd be times where there's one guy in particular I remember a lot that was it almost like, think about like the bounty picker-upper guy or whatever with that like red plaid look and the beard and the dark hair, kind of that type of look.
You mean the brawny man?
They shaved his beard, first of all.
He's become anonymous.
Yeah, wow. He's a different man. Brawny, whatever the fuck. Paper towel dude. The closet would open and the guy would do like this out the closet at me, and I'd be like, weirded out, and I'd be so scared I couldn't scream or talk or anything. And some people might say, oh, this sounds like sleep paralysis. No, I had sleep paralysis as an adult for a 2-year period of my life that I had later found out was medication induced, and it was not like this. It's a different thing. I know the difference in the things. And I would put the covers over my head scared, and then after I felt like I waited long enough for him to go away, I'd pull the covers down and he wouldn't be by the closet, and I'd be like, oh, thank God. But then I'd turn my head and his head would be there by the bed, but not looking at me, by the bed, looking at this in the same direction I was looking. And so I'd be looking at him looking away from me, and I'd be scared, like, don't look over, don't look over, don't look over. And then he'd rotate his head and he'd look at me, and I'd be terrified. And I would just pull the covers back under, and I would never come out, not the entire night, not until morning. So that's one that I still remember nowadays, and it fucks me up.
I think what freaked me about the amorphous form, it wasn't humanoid at all. I couldn't make sense of it. I was like, what is that? You know what I mean? And so, you think of like Ghostbusters or some, whatever kind of shit like that. And so that's why it freaked me out. If it was at least human, I'm like, okay, arms, legs, head, got it. So it was something that could make sense to me. But as I started getting older with the people and things like that, that's when it would get more uncomfortable, because that's when you start feeling more like vibes off of things, and whether something felt sketch or didn't. And I mean, even nowadays, there's been in the last 3 years or so, there's been some interactions I've had with ghosties I had like 2 houses ago was a house that was particularly haunted. So I had lots of
It came up too in here.
well, yeah, that one is when I saw lots of people, and there were several people in there that seemed pretty harmless, and there were a couple of them that I was like, well.
Creepy things as twins. You know, we had more things happen to each other separately than together.
Yeah, I guess in terms of paranormal stuff. But if you call creepy like the psychic stuff, like the telepathy and, you know, shared pains.
If you call that
stuff,
creepy, then that's all the time.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hi B, at what age did you realize you were spiritually intuitive, and which one discovered it first? I think you probably discovered it first.
I was thinking it was me.
I guess I just started following your lead, like, oh, you're looking into these things, I'll look into these too. Oh, you're considering this as a possibility, I'll consider this too. Or,
I was like, bitch, it was me.
Or whatever shit like that.
I think just as a child in general, I was the one that was more adventurous than you. Just generally speaking, where like I would get into trouble. Like, well, I would try stuff and, you know, ultimately fuck it up and get in trouble. And then she would do it, but do it the improved way because she saw all the ways it didn't work for me. So she'd sit there and wait in stealth mode. And then she's like, yeah, I'm going to do it better now. And I'm like, you know, so I was the one that was always like being like, whatever. And then I just do it. And then, you know, and then she'd do it better. So that's us in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Rosie, you're really gonna have to go somewhere else. You give me anxiety. Talk about anxiety. Anyway, like we even have like a picture of us as babies with our diaper butts, like going into the dryer. Yeah. I was head first in the dryer, my diaper butts hanging out, and B's like
on the lookout.
On lookout, but obviously a shitty lookout because my mom standing there gets a picture of us with her as lookout. So I was like. You didn't have my 6, ho! You ain't had my 6!
I mean, I was like maybe a year old. I did the best I could with what I had, the skills and the resources at the time.
I'm a baby shame you right now.
Okay. So anywho, I think she discovered it first about being intuitive.
Well, my point of the whole dryer story was just about like how early on it was obvious that I did things or investigated things, and then you would kind of not be as fearful about it after I kind of threw myself into it. And certainly once we got old enough to cognitively understand stuff, so, you know, teenager years, you know, that's when we were talking more about it, or you do silly stuff with your friends, but we're old enough to like have been around before the advent of like routine internet usage. Like internet was like something that was only accessible at school, which meant that it was very controlled.
We didn't have dial-up on the computer for us to be able to log on to any form of internet until we were in high school. Steady high school, like
late high school. Yeah. I mean, we had 5 TV channels until after we graduated high school.
Yeah.
We didn't even have cable. Nickelodeon or any of that shit.
Yeah, all these people are like, oh, 90s kid with this. First of all, a lot of people say 90s kid stuff and they were born in like 1993. I'm like, dude, you were 6 whenever it changed over. You don't know nothing about 90s kid, nothing. Stop with this rant. 90s kid, my ass, my total ass, my whole entire ass.
I think in college is when we really started looking into it more, because then we had more resources. We had the internet. We had more people to talk to. That's when Facebook started emerging as a thing when we were in college.
Back when you couldn't have a Facebook unless you were a part of a college because it was college to college campus
You
stuff.
had to have like a .edu email address to even make an account.
And then we're like, oh my God, people are getting on Facebook and they didn't even go to school that time. Remember?
We got like really elitist about it back in the day when, you know, like nowadays it's like, who cares? Like, you trifling hoe. But like back in the day we're like, you didn't even go anywhere. You didn't do anything. Why you want to let you in?
We wanted it to be special for people that had to go to college, and now we're like, what makes us special is we've got a debt out the ass, and the people that didn't go don't. So
yeah, it's like
they didn't fall for it, and we did. Kids, go to college if you want to go to college. Don't take that, you know. Just because I'm sitting here saying it's a scam doesn't mean you can't go and get a lot of good out of it.
Anyway,
Do all the responsible things, kids.
be responsible, kids. Be responsible. Stay off of Facebook too. I call it Fight Book now. I don't even get on there. But nobody cares about any of that. In college, I think that's when we started looking into it more seriously about like, what is it? What can you do with it? Yada yada yada. And that's when tarot and crystals and astrology and all the things that whole ethereal wormhole, we kind of started dipping into that. But
And I never even said your name. Jay Kosakowski. Okay, my God. Jay Kosakowski. Okay, I said it this time. Lord help me the first time. Jay Kosakowski, thank you for that question. So there's some questions here that, like I said, is kind of repeats where everybody was curious about our paranormal stuff, because Bruiser Bites said, I would love to hear some of your paranormal stories you experienced together. And did Bill that says B. Did B. I just come
well, Bill, what the fuck? What have you lived through, Bill? Tell me your story, Bill.
Did Bill feel the ghosts in Alma's house when you lived together? She wrote B. I'm saying Bill because now that has to be my second name.
I'm gonna call you that. I called you Bra for like several months. Yeah, Bill, talk about it.
Yeah,
Right.
I want to say no.
What?
I want to say the ghost issue at the previous home was all you.
Oh yeah, the previous home.
Yeah, I didn't have problems in the previous home with the ghosties.
Yeah, I didn't technically have problems. They were all right.
You had an infestation. I didn't sense that when I was there. Those ghosts came after I left. Yeah,
There's only like two things.
You had ghosties knocking over boxes and doing all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff.
I still think it was only like two people though.
Well, the point being, when I lived there, they were not there. Me moving out, you attracted shit. So no, I actually didn't feel those. Those came after I left, so something's wrong with her.
But the house before that,
The house before that,
my ex-marital home,
yeah.
that house.
You said the worst part of the hauntings in that house were upstairs, and you put my bedroom up there.
That's where the guest room was.
Well, you put my bedroom up there. You put me with them. And you would talk it up and tell me about the scary, strange things that happened. You'd be like, all right, well, good night.
I told you good night.
That's not enough.
That's a nicety.
That's not good enough. You had me hearing them toys going off and shit.
Yeah, that shit would go off all the time. When you go into a store and you set off like 5 toys plus in a row, it like at once simultaneously, it always sounds like Satan. That was in my house 2 houses ago.
Yeah.
Oh man, that house was the most haunted house that I've lived in. Now
And-
everywhere we've gone, I believe every house or every place, every dwelling that I've ever lived in, I've had some sort of experiences at every place. I don't know if you have. I don't know if there's been places that.
I would say most places I've lived in, I've had experiences, but not all.
Yeah.
I would say not all. For whatever reason, not all. But yeah, the fucking... At her old house, 2 houses ago, there was the one that we're talking about. She put me in the fucking upstairs bedroom with this stuff. And there was this one time where we kept finding Ivy Raid's little binkies everywhere, pacifiers, whatever the hell. And we kept finding them everywhere. And like coming out of drawers, like she'd put them in a drawer, shut the drawer, and it would be out on the floor when they would go, as a family somewhere and come back home. That wasn't going to happen any other way. And
Yeah, stuff would get moved around in that house beyond what we did,
And it was
and
usually
beyond what
binkies
the
and
animals. Yeah, because we had animals too, but beyond what the animals would even do, like stuff that would be heavier than animals could pick up and move. Things moving from one place to another place where an animal wouldn't actually be able to carry it from like that drawer to this countertop and stuff like that, so we're like, what was up with that?
And then we found out who one of the ghosts was.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of stories about that house. I mean, I could fill up several videos just on all the different
Well, at least
individuals.
tell them who that one was that was doing all the kids stuff.
So there was
And trigger warning, tragic something about a child.
when I first moved in, I had met like a child spirit, but at that time I didn't see it. I just felt the energy of it, and I knew it was very playful, but I couldn't discern male or female. So couldn't discern, and yada yada yada. Let's skip a couple of details in there. Ended up finally being able to discern what this was, and it was predominantly in my daughter's room upstairs, and I kept saying, like, I think this is a kid. I think it's a little boy. It feels like a boy to me. And, at the time, my ex was all like, this bullshit, I don't believe you, and all that kind of stuff. Until the previous homeowner, like, called him up and was like, so is everything going okay in the new house? And he's like, yeah, why? And he's like, I just didn't know if, y'all were experiencing any weird stuff, but it's good that you're not. Okay, bye. And he was like, what do you mean weird stuff? And then he's like, yeah, because my wife and kids always talked about weird stuff happening, like paranormal stuff. And so at the time, my ex is like, well, now you're going to go ahead and talk about what it is. And so he outlined like 2 or 3 different things, three different individuals that I had talked to him about explicitly, saying these 3 people are here. He's all like, I don't know what you're talking about, but anyway, until it was confirmed by past owner, but one of the 3 being a little boy. And it's because I found out that he was predominantly in my kid's room just because it was a kid and the toys were there. Because apparently my kid and the little boy spirit were relatively the same age. The house that was right next door to mine, right outside my daughter's bedroom window, that's where you could see their house. They had like a side garage. You could see right into the garage. One day, it was a family of like, with 5 children. And 5 kids, it's hard to keep up with where everybody is. And accidentally, the parent backed over their son and he died. So he was killed that way. And I guess because it was right there, you could see the spot where it happened through her bedroom window. I guess he just came over and was like hanging out with us. So anyway, that I shouldn't have gone there, I guess, but
I'm just
whatever.
sitting here
Yeah, I already drank mine.
I'm drinking it with my spoon, like one sip at a time. I'm fixing to turn it up.
Yeah, I drank mine too. But yeah, that little boy. But since I moved out, I found out that there was a little boy, I think, if the details are right, if my ex has his details right, that actually did live in the house. And it was a little boy that died of a brain aneurysm, I think. And the past owner of that house, which was one of the other spirits that I met, he died of a brain aneurysm in that house too. 2 brain aneurysms.
There's something real wrong with that place.
I'm telling you, nobody can live there for more than like 2 years before. Well, I shouldn't say 2. I think the person who lived there the longest was the dude who built it, and it was like 10 years. And then someone might have made it 4 years, but he was military, so he wasn't there all the time. And everybody else is like in and out in a year. Of course, the guy that
built it was okay because it was fresh then.
Yeah, and then he died of an aneurysm. Yeah. So he was okay until 10 years of it. The energy there was just, it's a bad time to say mind-blowing, I guess.
Anywho, new question. She could do an entire video on that house alone.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so
I think we both just like cleared our throats and snorted really loud in this microphone. If so, we're going to have to edit that out too.
We just have to. We just have to, yeah.
Nasty.
And that's similar to Lily Rose's question that says, have the ghosts you've lived with been there before you arrived? Have they followed you? What attracts them and how can I avoid them? Everything we just said has that.
I feel like explicitly, though, I do want to say that I think that they have been there before they've arrived. I don't actually think I've had any spirits follow me beyond our family members that have died. Like our grandma that died, she obviously follows us around, but that's because, we want her to, I guess. Yeah. but like that. But I haven't had like an entity that was a stranger to me that I met at a place. Mm-hmm. Then move with me. I have not had that happen, thankfully, because that would make me start feeling a little bit more like something's wrong with my energy if I have like an attachment. Attachments to me feel a little bit scarier, I guess. Well, maybe just because I don't understand it as much as I should.
In terms of how to avoid them, I really think spiritual hygiene with boundaries is the way to go with it. Mm-hmm. Knowing that you are the one that has the most energy right now, because you are in the 3D. It takes a lot of energy to be here solid like this, and so you have the upper hand than anybody that is disembodied. There's 8,000,001 ways to do it, so look online and find all the different ways that people say to do it, and try them out till you feel something that feels right.
Yeah, because I was actually thinking about tangentially that movie, I think it's called The Skeleton Key. And they kept saying, like, just don't believe in it. If you believe in it, you give it power. If you don't believe in it, you take away its power. And I feel like, to a certain extent, the way that my personal beliefs around tarot and all of this spiritual stuff is, personally, I feel like some of that holds true. I'm not saying that you can just be like, oh, I don't believe in it, therefore none of it is real. I don't believe that far. Like, I'm not that strict about it. But there is a certain amount of, like, if you are not focused on it, if you are not freaked out by it, if you are like, maybe so, maybe not, maybe you can hurt me, maybe not, but if it's one of those things where it's like, if you start kind of unclenching your beliefs into like, this is real and this is bad and this can hurt me and this is, that energy is like, you will be a magnet to some weird shit. I can almost guarantee you. But it's like, there is kind of a part of like, well, I don't even believe in that, or that's weird, or that's, that doesn't affect me. I'm not even gonna. Something about saying I don't believe in that is like truly deeply believing like my energy is not gonna tango with it. It's just not gonna interact, because you're saying I don't even believe it, so, which means you've almost created an energetic barrier to having it happen. That's why you hear a lot of wives that believe and husbands that don't, and then the wives are having all these experiences and the husbands are like sleeping peacefully at night, and you're like, how can it be like that? And it's like, because of this energetic interaction versus blocking, and then it doesn't have to be that stereotype. It can be any matter of, who does or doesn't, but I feel like some of that kind of carries. I'm sorry, as soon as it comes on.
Yeah, so I don't know where we trailed off with this last one.
I think the skeleton key and believing in spirit or not.
I don't know.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Okay, let's start over again.
Either way, since we have no idea, we're trying to not lose our train of thought and all this stuff, but it's a wild day, and apparently eating junk food has turned my brain to junk, so that's what happens. But so we'll just answer a couple more real quick, and then end the video, because I know this has been a very long video already, and I know we weren't able to get to everybody's questions, but next time we might be able to get more into it. So Shorty Love 87 says, can you sense when each other is physically or emotionally hurt? And we kind of said yes a while ago.
Yeah, we touched on it very early on in the video. We're like, oh yeah, because that, if you call that creepy, then yeah, that's every day, because that's just what we do.
Yeah, but just things like, I'll have a weird pain somewhere in my body that doesn't make sense, and I'll text her and be like, are you have some kind of, she's like, yeah, I hurt my back, or yeah, I did that. I'm like, damn it, heal yourself for my sake.
It's
Don't
not
be selfish.
It's not like you haven't like blighted me with pain, and I mean, there's a time there I was like, I think, no, I'm not even gonna say that.
Oh my God,
it's gonna be inappropriate.
Whatever it is.
No, I took it back immediately. That was self-censorship. This is your channel. Let's just not go there.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
But there was in the last 6 months, the most recent thing, the puking incident. And we talked about that before, I think. It might have been in a live or a video. I don't know. But there was a puke incident where, and that one comes up to me because that one was like more extreme, because normally it's like, oh, my back hurts and there shouldn't be any reason for it. I'm old, but I'm not that old, or whatever. And I'll be like, yeah, I pulled something. Usually it'll be some stupid way I did, but regardless. But the puke thing was just wild, because like I was puking out of nowhere, except for the fact that I did have a McChicken, and I really don't know if I trusted that McChicken, y'all. I really don't think that McChicken fucking liked it. Okay, so anyway, I launched that at like 1 a.m., right? And then the next day, I was telling her, she was like, yeah, I'm feeling too puny to do blah, 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 blah with you today. And I was like, yeah, I'm feeling too puny to do it too. I was up at 1 a.m. puking. She was like, no, I was up at 1:30 a.m. puking. It was like 18 minutes apart or something. You had woken up like out of a dead sleep, and you launched it too. Yeah, and you didn't even have a sour McChicken.
I didn't have, there was no reason for this. I was like, what the hell? You've done this to me. That happens. That happens. I'm glad she had a C-section abortion because of complications, and because if you had not, what would I have felt? I don't want to go through that.
What?
If you had your baby vaginally,
you would have just felt tootie pain?
Would have just felt. You know what?
You're so serious, and it just makes me.
Kirby's Misadventures is next. Have y'all ever covered for one another? Like, you go into school in your sister's place, and there was somebody else that had a very similar question. Oh, Baramon, where you said, have we ever traded spaces with each other? And so, yeah, the school thing we did one time, and the funny thing, the interesting thing about it, whatever, ironic thing about it is we looked a lot alike when we were kids. It's like the only difference you could tell is one had a chubbier face than the other. She had a chubbier face than I did when we were babies. And so that's the only way you can really tell us apart. And as we've aged, we've gotten to where a lot of people are like, I wouldn't have even pegged you as sisters or stuff like that. That kind of offends me, like when people say that. Like, I don't know, that irritates me because I'm like, she's my fucking twin and you're not even gonna like acknowledge us as sisters. You're gonna say, I thought she was your cousin. Or that one person that said they thought I was her mom. Like, oh, are you Alma's mom?
I already told you she wiped back to front.
I mean,
like, that girl was not.
I'm just saying,
like she was not all there.
What the absolute
upstairs.
Fuck? And so, anywho, offended. So yeah, but the time that we traded places in school was when it was grad school. Yeah, it was grad school.
So we waited late in the game before getting ballsy enough to break rules.
we didn't look the same at that point.
No,
we didn't. No. But I wore wigs at that point because y'all know I have trichotillomania and pull out my hair, and I was feeling really self-conscious about it. So I wore wigs at that time, and because of that, I was able to wear a wig that was similar to her natural long hair. And so in grad school, we did do a swap thing. And I guess you'll have to tell the story because you're the one that went into my class. I was hiding out in the bathroom. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Well, I guess the thing about that was like, I thought it was going to be cooler than what it was because
we had never done it before. And so like, I thought it was going to be cool.
Because I went into the classroom and I sit down. There was like maybe two other classmates that knew both of us, and so they were kind of in on it. You know what I mean? But I go and I'm like, which one's her seat? I don't even know which her desk is. And they're like, right there, right there. So I go and I sit in the desk. The professor comes in and he starts teaching. And he just doesn't notice a thing, and he's just teaching.
This was a grad school class of like literally 20 people or less.
Yeah, it was a small class, like a lecture hall. Yeah, it was a tiny little class, and he's standing in the room, and I'm in the front row, you know, and so he's like, and in the middle, I'm like right there on the 50-yard line. He's staring right at me, and he's just teaching, and I'm just sitting there, and he goes and he asks a question, to the class. So one of the people that was in on it could obviously tell he was just going to continue the whole class and never notice. So the kid, the friend or whatever that was in there, he went ahead and raised his hand and was like, I think B knows the answer to that. I think she wants to answer that question, right, B, right? And I'm like, I mean, yeah. And at the same time, I was like, good thing trying to get the teacher to notice that I'm not B, but bad thing putting me on the spot, asking me a question about some shit I don't know about. Like, I was like, I'll come up with like a really pretty answer just off the spot. You know, I'll come up with something. You know, that's how I pass most of my classes. But I was like, I don't even know what y'all talking about today. And so I'm like, yeah, I mean, I think, and the professor's just looking at me, waiting for me to answer. And we're like, he doesn't get it at all. And so at that point, somebody, I think, just walked over and opened up the classroom door for you to walk in. And when you walked in and he looks over at you and then he looks at me and he looks at you and he looks at me and he was like, what? And he was just really confused, and he was like low key about it. Like his energy got quieter. He wasn't one of those like, whoa, you bought me, you know, like it wasn't one of those good react videos. It was like one of those, what is the world? My life is crumbling on me. Existential crisis. I don't even know what I'm doing here. Who am I? You know, and it was like one of those. And I was like, oh, damn. Yeah. Like life imploded on him, and it just went, it kind of just fizzled right out. But anyway, the classmates thought it was great. They had really high impact reactions.
They had high impact reactions.
Not the teacher.
I missed most of it because I was not there for most of it. And the whole point was we were just eating lunch, and we made that plan, and the whole plan was to deceive the professor, and it had, you know, nothing to do with the class because the classmates were in on it. And
yeah,
so,
but they thought it was great.
They thought it was great, which is good. That does make my day.
Yeah.
But that's the only time we ever switched. The thing is, we didn't know when we were kids that we could switch stuff. We didn't know about any of these things as being options, and so we didn't. But we could have. We could have gotten away with that so much easier as kids.
I wish I knew about the troll life.
Yeah,
when I was a kid.
We didn't know that. All we knew was you had to be really good and really
yeah,
quiet.
straight-laced and mute
Yeah.
is what we were. Like,
Yeah.
our whole lives. Seriously.
I would have been, if somebody said go into Alma's class instead, I probably would have been terrified. Would have pissed my pants. Like,
well, I mean, but
oh
you-
my God,
you-
but I could get in trouble.
You've done that a couple of times.
I've peed my pants so many times.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic. That's a whole other
Especially
thing.
in school
but,
growing up as a kid.
But, like, I feel like we went to a small school, and so we all knew the same people. It was like the same 200 people that we did the entire school with. And literally most of those kids didn't even know I had a voice. They didn't even know that we could talk because we were that quiet, that much of wallflowers. We were just the straight A kid that never spoke. You know what I mean? And that's what it was. And it's like, because we're like, that's the option. That's the only option. That's the only way to live life. I didn't know there was like trolls and you could do troll stuff and like punk people and whatever. Like, I had no clue
I'd
about
have been
that.
too scared to. You might would have done it if you knew, but I'd have been too scared to.
Yeah, no, I would have been scared to at first, but I would have launched myself into it and then had a fuck up.
So yeah, I don't know. That's the only swap that we can ever do that I thought of. Like Baramon asked about if we ever swapped because one was better at something than the other, and so we're like, hey, you go do that. But that would be like, oh, you're better at English. Take my English test for me and stuff. And that our parents, when we were growing up, there was always 2 sets of homerooms that you could be in, like this cluster of teachers or this cluster of teachers that each had their own set of students that would go from class to class to class growing up. And our mama always kept us in different classes. We never had classes together, and so we had different friends because I had friends in my classes, she had friends in her classes, and we didn't have the same friends because we weren't even in the same classes. And I think mama did that so that we wouldn't like be too much on each other.
Pair off.
We wanted to kind of separate that stuff, so even that wasn't an option.
Oh my God. Okay.
So,
that's enough. We gotta stop.
yeah.
We gotta stop for today. I know we're
Yeah.
running out of time, and there's some questions that we didn't answer, but they could very well be put into a different, more like somber video about like how did we arrive to tarot, our journey to tarot, our metaphysical and spiritual beliefs, and how they may work with each other or differ from each other, because we do have some differing beliefs in there, and you know, that kind of stuff. But that feels too like cerebral and too like hyper focused to go into
instead
today.
I'll just give a shout out of all the people that posted comments, just so I can say thank you for posting the comments.
Yes.
So thank you to Surrender Jones and Jay Kosakowski. Why can't I say that? Sarah Bruce and Buser. I can't talk for fuck.
I was wondering what you were saying.
I don't know shit about fuck. Isn't that on, that's on Ozark. I don't know shit about fuck.
I thought it was shit about dick. I thought that was that.
Or I don't know fuck about dick, or I don't know shit about, it's something like that.
It's all bad?
Yeah, it's all bad. It's all bad. That's me. Okay, starting over. You know what fucked me up? Jay Kosakowski, whoever you are, you fucked me up with this name. I love it. I just can't say it. So, trying again to thank you also to Sarah Bruce and Bruiser Bites. I apparently can't say those two back to back. Kirby's Misadventures, Lily Rose, Mary Holland, Pamela Griffiths, Shorty Love 87, Jackie M, Performing Normality, Motion Sick. Oh, Motion Sick. I get it now.
Yeah, you're like scrolling really fast for somebody that stutters like you do.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to. You know what? That's what happens with this OCD shit. It's like you gotta say it. You gotta say it, but then it just.
You can say it.
Yeah.
Slow your roll.
Slow roll. Say your words.
Use your speech words.
Julia Spooney, Natasha, Hollister 74, Baramon, Shafabodi, unless it's Chapabodi, Michelle Wood, and Jackie Vineyard. So thank y'all for submitting questions. Sorry that we didn't get to all of them.
It's okay.
It's bound to happen. But we will do another video at some point with the other type of content in here. So yeah, I feel like it's been like probably close to 2 weeks that I've said if you'd like a private reading, then my website's below. We didn't even do readings in this, but Just throwing that out there again because I feel like I haven't said it in weeks. And that also basically everything else that you probably would want to know or need to know is in the description box or in my website at BeasTalksAndTarot.com. So check all that out if you have any curiosities. And thank y'all for these. And yeah, we're going to have a fun time editing this one. This was a bad choice. This was a bad choice. My brain is oozing. I can feel it.
This is my lifeblood.
I am not accustomed to such. I want a La Croix.
Yeah. I got some berry ones in the fridge, so for real.
Oh, well. Yeah,
No.
that might be
Okay.
next. That might be next.
All right. Are we going to say bye? Oh, you're doing it. Okay.
I'm Bill. I will find out soon
My
enough.
GI tract about to
I'm going to be
rebuke.
doing a live stream after this, which this is probably going to go up days after the live stream. So the live stream has already happened by the time y'all are seeing this. But if I have booty troubles during the live stream, you'll know what caused that.
Yeah, I've actually got brownies in the
Yeah?
pantry right here. Yeah.
Go get your brownies, I'm going to tell them. So
Don't y'all
there's...
be looking at my booty shorts.
Those are my old shorts that I can't fit into anymore because I gained too much weight. Or maybe it's not because I gained weight. Maybe it's because I work out and I did enough butt workouts that it's too big. Right?
Brownies become very anonymous now
Shit.
nowadays.
So when you get to it, you just be like, Ashton, and you keep going. I don't know what the fuck you just said. Shit, I don't know. I don't know how long it is. Hell, I didn't spell my middle name right till I was 19. So
This is true.
this is true. Repeat.
Excuse me, Lord, I'm at the puke.
Repeat. I'm just trying to lean in so that I can make it in frame, and I keep scaring myself, being like, oh shit, those curls look absolutely horrible. But they're a part of her decor back there. I don't know what to say. This is stupid. I'm stupid. This is stupid. When you discovered it, I just knocked little pieces of fried whatever. Yeah.
So I'm glad you said that because I was like,
She was about to fight me over it.
I need pills to even own this dog. No, I don't. That's a joke. But still.
Okay.
I don't think we got our ass cuts over that, though. Because they took a picture. I don't think they would have taken a picture like, oh, sweet, let me cut your ass.
I know I went off, and we'll take those out, but I'm keeping Bill. I'm keeping Bill.
Yeah, we'll keep Bill. Oh, shit, something's popping up on my computer. I don't understand it. Oh, no. What is that?
I don't know.
Go away.
How are you going to...
I don't know. Go away.
It's literally popped up on her computer where she can't even press the
don't know what this
record button to make it
means.
stop.
I don't know.
Push the 3 dots.
3 dots?
Yeah, maybe it'll make it go away. You have to click something.
I'm going to have to do this.
Oh, it worked.
I'm a boomer. I feel so boomer right now. I'm like such a boomer. I'm like, there's a little box that popped up on the screen.
Pop-up.
Damn it, Bill. There's a box on the screen. A pop-up.
I don't know how to press stop record because of this box. This here box.
Damn it, Bill.
This
Is
here
this
box.
working? I don't even
Wait.
know if this is working. Damn it, Bill.